Hi, this is Heidi Burgess with the last of the videos on small-scale reconciliation. The last item on our list is taking advantage of opportunities for mutually beneficial joint action. When people are embroiled in deep-rooted intractable conflict, they've usually oversimplified their narratives to a simple us versus them scenario. They usually assume there's no point in negotiating with or listening to or working with the other side. But it's almost always the case that each side will share at least some interests and concerns with the other side. And collaborating and fixing those, sometimes minor problems, or simply playing together and enjoying time together can often build interpersonal and intergroup trust and understanding, which will then allow for more successful collaborations and other problems, including more central problems, in the future. As I discussed in the earlier Reconciliation Part 2 video, there are many varieties of joint projects. Some examples I know about are several Arab-Israeli bilingual schools, a bilingual bicultural Sesame Street that unfortunately no longer exists, a Philippine bakery that employs Muslims and Christians, a project to rebuild Albanian mosques in Kosovo by Jews, Protestants, and Albanian Muslims, and the JAMA project in Burundi, which encourages soccer games with teams composed of both Hutus and Tutsis. There are lots of joint projects in the United States as well, which bring conservatives and progressives together to improve communities. Two well-known such efforts are Teach for America and AmeriCorps, the latter of which now seems to be called Service Year. These programs place young people, recent high school and college graduates, in service jobs around the country. While Teach for America only places graduates in schools, although they don't need teacher training beforehand, Service Year positions are available in education, the environment, disaster relief, health, homelessness, public safety, and many other areas. Both of these programs tend to bring together people with very different backgrounds. The volunteers differ from the people they are working with, but all can learn a lot about each other and get to understand that difference is enlightening, not frightening. Once the other actions discussed earlier have started, de-escalation, improved communication, visioning, and leveling, the situation is like to become more ripe for negotiation. Often, however, in difficult and intractable conflicts, it helps to have a mediator who can help disputants come up with an agenda, keep conversations respectful, and focused on the goal. One of the helpful things a mediator can do is help disputants figure out what aspects of their conflict are ripe for negotiation and which are not. Then they can start working on the low-hanging fruit, and if successful there, they can move on to more challenging issues. By creating a track record of success, they can be very helpful in improving trust and relationships overall. The mediator can also help the disputants reframe, as we discussed earlier, from a simple us versus them situation to a collaborative situation, where they are all working together to solve a mutual problem. That problem can be conflict escalation, or it can be something more substantive, like lack of healthcare availability, lack of jobs, lack of shopping opportunities, that sort of thing. When we're in conflict, we have a tendency to blame the other for all our problems. I even found myself doing that earlier today while I was working on a post from BI and I couldn't make it work, and I blamed Guy. Heaven's sake! Fortunately, I quickly figured out that the problem was my own making, and I shouldn't have blamed Guy regardless, but rather I should have worked with him as I eventually did to solve the problem. Then a light bulb came on in my head, and I realized that reframing from blame to problem solving relates to what we're talking about here too. As I discussed in one of the first Conflict Frontiers videos entitled The Blame Game, while we usually blame the other person for our problems, most often, if we are honest about it, we have contributed to the problem too. Maybe we haven't contributed as much as the other person did, but it's rare that one side is completely blameless. And even if they are, pointing fingers and assigning blame is unlikely to help the victim. Rather, it's likely to make the accused feel attacked and vulnerable, and rather than becoming cooperative, they are likely to become hostile and vindictive. A much better approach is to explore problem solving, alone if necessary, but preferably jointly with the other side. The term problem solving is used in conflict resolution field in two very different ways. It refers to reconciling interests as in interest-based bargaining or collaborative problem solving, and it refers to identifying fulfilling human needs, what Roger Fisher called interactive problem solving. Interest-based or integrative negotiation or problem solving follows the 4 steps popularized in the best-selling book, Getting to Yes. They are: first, separate the people from the problem. 2, focus on interests, not positions. 3, generate options for mutual gain. And 4, use objective criteria to evaluate options. This strategy works pretty well when the issues in contention are interests, things that can be compromised or expanded to give everyone what they want. But this strategy is not sufficient when the things in contention are not compromisable, if they involve fundamental values or basic human needs such as identity, security, or recognition. When the conflict involves fundamental human needs, John Burton first and many other human needs theorists who followed his lead argued that conflict resolution scholars should hold problem-solving workshops with disputants in deep-rooted conflicts to investigate whether those conflicts were indeed being driven by the denial of human needs. If they were, which was usually the case, the scholars would work with the workshop participants to identify the missing needs and come up with ideas of how those needs could be provided, which, he expected, would go a long way, if not all the way, toward resolving the conflict. As I think I have pointed out before, needs are not like interests for 2 reasons. One is that they are not compromised. People don't take partial security or partial identity. They want it all. But needs also aren't zero-sum. They are more often positive-sum. That means the more secure one side feels, the more the other side will likely feel secure as well, because the first side won't be threatening them so much. So that leaves open a wide range of options for conflict resolution, if people could just simply be brought to the table and encouraged to talk to each other honestly and in good faith. Problem-solving workshops do that. That's why they're also called integrative problem solving. So that's what I mean by needs-based problem solving, and it is another way to take advantage of opportunities for mutual gain. So taking all 5 of these steps together: de-escalating destructive us versus them confrontations, promoting effective communication, developing a unifying vision and a path to get there, leveling the playing field if wealth, income, and power is unequal, and taking advantage of opportunities for mutually beneficial joint actions, together are all ways that local bottom-up, small-scale reconcilers and peace builders can work towards reconciliation. Thanks.